All right, today we are diving into something that is, no exaggeration, one of the biggest disruptions since the computer itself. I'm talking about the explosion of generative AI. And look, this isn't just some new app or a cool feature. We're talking about a fundamental shift that is rewriting the rules for all creative work, from music to movies and absolutely everything in between.
So to really wrap our heads around this revolution, let's look at two incredible but very different examples. On one side, you have AI acting like a precision scalpel. Producers were able to use it to perfectly isolate and restore John Lennon's voice from a noisy 40-year-old cassette tape, literally making the final Beatles song possible. But on the other side, you've got AI as a pure generator. Tools like OpenAI's Sora can conjure up entire movie-quality video scenes just from a single line of text. Restoration versus creation. That's the new creative world we're living in.
And seeing those two extremes really forces us to ask the big question, the one we're going to unpack in this explainer. Is generative AI just a much better tool? Like going from a hammer to a nail gun. Or is it something else entirely? A new partner, a co-creator sitting right there in the machine with us.
And, figuring this out is absolutely crucial. Because we're not just talking about some slick software update here. We are witnessing a fundamental paradigm shift in how we even talk to our computers.
Okay, so let's rewind a bit. For like the first 50 years of computers trying to be creative, AI had to follow rules that humans programmed right into it. Think of Harold Cohen's Aaron. It was this amazing program that could draw, but it could only draw inside the world that Cohen himself had coded. They were basically sophisticated mimics. But then, the big leap. The generative leap came with deep learning, where these models aren't just given rules, they learn the underlying patterns by analyzing just mind-boggling amounts of data. And that's why a modern model like DALL-E can come up with totally new ideas it was never explicitly taught.
So at the absolute core of this whole revolution is this idea, and it's a bit of a mouthful, called reversing the interface factor. But what it means is actually pretty simple and, frankly, game-changing. For decades, if you wanted a computer to do something creative, you had to learn its language. Code, complicated menus, technical jargon. Now, the machine learns to understand you. Your intent, your natural language. You don't program a rule for a tree, you just ask for a melancholy willow tree in the style of Caspar David Friedrich. It's a total flip.
And you can see this shift play out everywhere. It's not just one area, it's all of them. In music, we went from systems that could imitate Bach to tools that can generate a brand new rock song from a prompt. In art, we went from rule-based drawings to rendering entire photorealistic worlds from just a concept. And in video, from a little help in post-production to generating the whole clip from scratch. The computer isn't just executing anymore, it's generating.
Okay, so that's the big picture. But what does this actually look like on the ground, for the creators in the trenches working today? How does this completely change the game, starting from that terrifying blank page and getting you to an instant, usable prototype? Let's take music. AI has basically become this infinite sampler, right? Content creators can just generate a royalty-free track with the exact mood and length they need instantly. A musician who's got writer's block can train an AI on their own past work to spark new melodies in their own unique style. And now advanced tools are offering this incredible precision. They call it pixel-level control over audio, letting you tweak every little detail. The AI is a true collaborator. And for visual artists, oh man, it is like a mood board on steroids. An art director can spit out 50 different concepts for a cyberpunk city in minutes, not weeks. From there, it's all about playing around, iterating. You use an AI canvas to expand a scene outwards or change a tiny detail, like turning a character's armor from steel to weathered gold. It just speeds up the entire pipeline, from that first spark of an idea all the way to creating final assets for production. But then we get to video, and this is where things get really interesting, because there's this huge disconnect. The promise, what we all see in those viral Sora demos, is the complete replacement of filmmaking as we know it. But the reality? Well, a 2025 Deloitte report says major studios are spending less than 3% of their production budgets on these tools. Why? Because they're worried about IP liability, the legal risks of using AI content. So where's the money actually going? Well, it's going into the boring stuff. The back-end AI for things like contract management and localization. For now, efficiency is beating out pure creation. So all of this, it brings up a massive question. As this tech goes from being just a tool to a real partner, we gotta ask, where do we, the humans, still have the upper hand? And where is the machine starting to catch up, or even maybe pull ahead?
So someone actually put this to the test in an experiment.
They pitted professional creatives against an AI with the same marketing brief. And the results? They were fascinating. When it came to the big picture brand-building slogans, humans won. By a lot, more than double the votes. But for the punchy, direct, persuasive taglines, it was a photo finish, a virtual dead heat. The AI actually won, but by a razor-thin margin.
So, what's going on here? Why the huge split? Well, the researchers dug in and found this massive generational divide. Younger audiences, like students, almost always prefer the AI's work. And the reason, according to the researchers, is that, quote, the AI is just unbelievably good at picking up on current trends and the specific kind of language that younger people use and connect with. It literally speaks their language. So the AI is amazing at what's trendy right now, while the humans want on long-term strategic thinking.
But, and this is a big but, this new partnership isn't all sunshine and roses. It's not like you just plug in this super smart co-creator and your work magically gets better. There are some serious mental traps, cognitive pitfalls that everyone, from a total beginner to a seasoned pro, really needs to watch out for.
Okay, so there are two big ones to keep on your radar. First, there's design fixation. This is when you get stuck, kind of anchored to the very first thing the AI spits out, and it actually ends up boxing you in and making you less creative. But the second one might be even more dangerous, especially for experts, expertise fixation. This is when a seasoned pro rejects a new, more efficient AI solution simply because it doesn't fit into their old, established workflow. Their own experience can literally blind them to a better way of doing things. And if we zoom out from just the individual creative's workflow, we see that this whole revolution, it comes with a pretty steep price tag. It's forcing us to have some really tough conversations about the economic and ethical stakes here, and we have to get it right.
You know that expertise fixation trap we just talked about? Well, it is playing out right now on a massive economic scale. A 2025 report found that a staggering 95% of organizations are seeing zero return on their investments in GenAI. 95%. They're just bolting this powerful new tech onto their old ways of working instead of truly rethinking their workflows.
And then there's the ethical minefield we have to navigate. I mean, you've got the giant copyright conundrum, these models being trained on tons of copyrighted work without anyone's permission. Then there's the very real fear about jobs being devalued or even replaced. And of course, the one we all see in the headlines, the deep fake danger, being used for misinformation and even massive fraud, like that recent heist where a finance worker was tricked into sending $25 million by a deep fake of his own boss.
So, okay, we've got this massive transformation, all these challenges. Where does the road lead from here? Well, the future probably isn't just about typing a prompt and hitting generate. It's about breaking down the walls between different kinds of media and turning AI into a live, interactive instrument.
Sam Altman from OpenAI, he has this vision of a whole new spectrum of entertainment. It's not just a passive movie on one side and a hands-on video game on the other. He thinks AI will create these new experiences that live right in between, where you might be watching a film, but you can say something, and it actually changes the plot as it's playing out. You're not just a viewer anymore, you're part of the story.
So when you put it all together, what does it mean? Well, it looks like the human creator isn't being replaced. The role is being elevated. It's shifting away from the technical stuff, the nitty-gritty of the software, the craft of the brushstroke, and moving towards vision, towards curation, towards direction. So the question isn't, can AI create anymore? The evidence is pretty clear that it can. The real question, the one we're all left with, is what do we want it to create?